Grazie.
Hey everyone. So hopefully the sound is coming loud and clear. This is the first time that I'm actually testing this. And I want to thank you for everyone that donated in the last couple of weeks. I know that some people also gave me some money on PayPal, and I do thank you for it because I finally managed to buy a new webcam. And I still have some issues using the video editor that I'm using right now with this webcam because the webcam that I bought apparently is not supported by the video editor. So I'll see what I'll do. Like it seems that OBS is using the correct software in order for me to be able to use this webcam. So I'll probably record on OBS and then move it to the video editor and tinker it there. And hopefully it's going to work like that because it's been quite a hassle. Yeah, although I need to be careful because OBS has one button for streaming and one button for recording, and I hope I'm not going to mix them up. Does it look glorious? Thank you, I appreciate it. Right, so let's see. We got a couple of news to talk about today. But before, let's talk about the Ninja Turtles. Yeah. It's interesting because a lot of things that they want to reboot, remake, reimagine, they're tied to the culture of the 90s or the 80s or whenever they were popular. So if you're making something in 2021 and you're reminiscent of the culture of the 90s, it can work. I mean, Fallout did it well, but a lot of people don't really live in that culture anymore. So like the things that you're doing doesn't really make sense. It's like, what do you mean Teenage Mutant Ninja? Like most superheroes that come up in Hollywood today, they have more interesting background stories. Right? Like the first Spider-Man, okay, he got bit by a radioactive spider, and that's it, right? But like the new origins of Spider-Man, it's like, no, this corporation was actually working on a spider that would improve something in humans, and like it's a lot more elaborate. Like they try to make it more realistic. Thank you, Frey. I appreciate it. I'll use the money to buy a new video editing software because I've been using Camtasia for a while, but they don't support a lot of the webcams. And as you can see, like the webcam is fine, the software is fine, but when I tried recording with Camtasia, I got stuttering, I got a lot of lag, a lot of delay on the videos, so I'll have to buy a new editor program. The problem is, like, you usually go for $200 or something like that. Like, they're ridiculously expensive. I think it's because the people who buy them, they work for companies or they're like artists and stuff, so they buy these programs. And if you use the free version, then it gets a watermark, and it's I can't upload videos like that. So I'll just gather money for like the next 2 or 3 months, and then I'll use the money to buy a new video editing software. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was great when The Simpsons first came out, and they had great arcade games. Yeah, but you can, if you were to make a quote-unquote realistic TMNT video game, you could make it really great. I mean, you could go mature with it, and I would expect the nunchucks and the bow to actually and the bow stick to actually like crack bones. Like you should feel the impact when Donatello just uses that bow stick. And when Leonardo uses the swords, like he should be able to like cut limbs and like draw blood, similar with the size. Like if you were to do a mature TMNT game like that, and you nail down the fighting aspect of it, and you make it fun, that if you play it in multiplayer, it's going to sell. Like you're going to get a lot of money. It doesn't matter what the story is. Like you just need to nail the fighting properly. The progressives cannot create new art because their worldview is too cynical and ugly. I disagree. There is a couple of progressive art that I can't say I like, but I can say that, well, it's popular because it's selling. So this would be Steven Universe. I mean, it's sold. The Adventure Time, that's sold. Princess Shira was good, and I can tell you why Princess Shira was good and the one with Thundercats was bad. It was because the one with Thundercats was actually belittling the viewer, like it was belittling masculinity. I watched an episode and it was all about Lionel just wanting to go on an adventure, and everyone was telling him that it's wrong to just want to go on an adventure. Like you need to seek group consensus, you need to ask for permission, you need to see that everyone is on the same page. And Lionel was constantly the butt end of all jokes. Like he would say something adventurous, like, "Oh, I'm going to go save the day," bahaha, and then he would go and trip, and he would fall down. So it was kind of mocking masculinity. It was kind of mocking, like the audience. Princess Shira didn't do that. Like while Princess Shira had some very cringe LGBT themes, that were just shoehorned there in order to show that they're progressives or whatnot. It wasn't belittling the people watching it. Like it didn't make the people who like Princess Shira feel bad for her. So yes. Thank you, Yataro Okayama. I appreciate it. When did I watch the Thundercats? When they made the Thundercats reboot, like I wanted to see just how bad it is. And I gotta say, I wasn't disappointed. It was incredibly bad. I mean, it was just absolute cringe. Another thing that progressives do well has been Hotel. I can't say I disliked it. Hell of a Boss. I mean, it's not the type of cartoons that I can say I enjoy watching. But at the same time, I can see why it sells. I mean, I can see why there's a fandom regarding it. And it appeals to a new demographic that I disagree with. But then again, like my parents disagreed with my demographic. So the new demographic relies on just random, spontaneous jokes. Like just nonstop jokes that are like, if you watched Hell of a Boss, you know what I mean. Or if you watched Harley Quinn, you know what I mean? Like every single second, like a joke needs to happen, and it needs to be random. It needs to be like really crazy and over the top, and the action needs to keep on moving. You don't spend like 5 seconds to think about what was being presented. It's like just from one joke to another. Does it look less kawaii and higher resolution? Like, well, I'm sad about it. People keep telling me to watch She-Ra. I wouldn't watch it. I mean, it's not something that I like, but at the same time, it's not something that I can say it's on the same level with Thundercats Ho or the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles reboot or some other things that they're pushing for. So, this is something that happened. Nekolul. Do you guys remember Nekolul? She's the chick with the... I need to find the shortcut for the display thing, but okay. So she's the chick that did the OK Boomer meme. The lady which basically was talking about voting for Bernie Sanders and how socialism is great. And now she is making a video about her $2 billion apartment tour. And a lot of people are disagreeing with that. Now, while you have... Give me a second. Who is calling me at this ungodly hour of 2 a.m. in the morning? Samsung just updated its terms and policies. Okay, Samsung can go fuck itself. I have a stream to make. So... where was I? Yes. You see this with a lot of young ladies that find themselves on Twitch or they find themselves on OnlyFans. And I'm curious, like, if they do it simply because it's popular, but like they probably vote with Donald Trump because he makes them pay less taxes. I don't know. But in reality is like you have all these ladies that are doing a profession that wouldn't exist under socialism. I think even China banned the Twitch streamers. So, but they're making millions of dollars, right? And if you look at Bernie Sanders, he constantly talks about the millionaires and billionaires, right? Like they're evil people. And the rationale for being an evil person, because this is like a lot of her fans are defending her on Twitter, and they're saying, well, so what if she has money? And like you get a lot of fans saying it's like, I can't even believe it. Like let me just show you this one. You get individuals saying $2 million is not rich, right? So they're making like a lot of apology for her, and the apology shouldn't exist. I mean, normal people would be like, like, congratulations, like, you're successful. That's great. Like, I'm happy for you. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're a socialist, the problem is, like, she is having way too much wealth, as in no single person on earth needs $2 million. And that's kind of true, I would say. But from a capitalist perspective, you want people to be more productive and encourage them to try harder so they become millionaires. And even if they don't make it, like, they used all their energy trying to get there, and they improved the quality for other people by working harder or whatever, right? Like, from a capitalist point of view, a millionaire is an example. Like, you should try to become like them. From a socialist point of view, a billionaire is an evil person, and you shouldn't be a millionaire. Like, you should start donating to charity. You should start donating to other people, or at least donate to activist causes in order to bring upon socialism. So this is why she's in a conundrum right now. And you'll notice that a lot of these ladies that are very prone to socialism, and they want more taxation, and they want, like, the government to be bigger and whatnot, they end up being incredibly wealthy. It wasn't Nekolul. It was like, I think it was Pokimane recently, which is also a millionaire. And even I, as a capitalist, needs to wrinkle my nose at seeing what's happening, right? Like, you have this YouTuber, it's a Gundam, talking about her and pointing out that there were her own subscribers were saying, it's like, I can't pay rent this month because I donated all my money to Pokimane. And another guy, was saying that he's getting problems with his wife because he's spending too much money on Pokimane. So you have, like, these individuals that are quite poor, and they're spending their time donating money to a millionaire who doesn't even know that they exist. Like, I would think it improbable that she would be able to know their names or know who they are. But you have, like, these people in her community just arguing with each other about donating to a girl that has $1 million contracts with corporations and whatnot, right? And this is, like, the world we live in. And the people complaining about socialism, they like Twitch. Because, like, Twitch has a lot of people that talk about socialism while being millionaires. So, yes. People are saying that the rent post is fake. No, like, it was Pokimane claiming that the rent post is fake. And I would believe it had she not tried to target its Gundam's advertisers over it. Right? Like, if she would have acted like a mature person and say, hey, look, like, these posts are fake, nothing like this happens, blah, 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 blah. Please stop spreading rumors about me because they're not true. I'll be like, okay, she's got a point. But when she went on and targeted It's a Gundam's advertisers, I was like, really? Do people actually do something like this over something fake? So, yes. At least donate to V and get the buyer's remorse. I think, like, people should donate to me if they like my content. I'm doing quite well financially. I mean, well, not really. I'm in debt because I have to pay mortgage for the house. But I usually avoid asking for donations. I only ask for donations if it's really bad. That's the way I get it. Like, if I'm having problems in my life, then I'll let you guys know. But other than that, I would ask for donation every day if things were different. Because, like, I mean, I got a wedding to attend. I got the bank loans to pay. And then I probably have to go on a trip afterwards because I haven't had a vacation in, like, I think it's been like 3 or 4 years since I last went on a vacation. So I'll go somewhere in Romania, somewhere cheap, just to take the missus out for a couple of days. It's going to be problems because it's going to be in a weekend, so I don't know how I'll deal with this weekend stupid. But other than that, my main point is, like, that there's always expenses. And if I were the type of streamer that would constantly e-beg like DSP, I think I would annoy you guys more than anything. Anyway, right. Let's look at something else that happened. So apparently there is a virus going on, and I want you guys to be aware of, because it's in Romania, and the virus is probably going to go into the United States as well, experts say, studies show. And the virus is something that you can actually fall for, especially if you're a person like myself. Now, thankfully, it didn't happen to me. But if it were to happen to me, I would have probably failed for it. So what the virus does is it sends you a message from a respectable delivery company. In my case, in Romania, it can be from Same Day Courier. It can be from DLH or whatever, right? So it sends you a message from a delivery company saying your package is on the way, and you should click this link in order to follow the package. Now, the reason I would fall for it is because I usually get packages. So I ordered some gardening tools the other day, and I ordered this webcam, and I ordered, like, usually I do my shopping through packages. So when you get something like that, you're tempted to click it. And if you click it, then the app installs malware on your phone. Now, usually malware just slows down your phone, or it manages to gather like some data in order to compile it in a database and sell it to third parties, and it slows down your phone. But this malware can actually see your phone screen. It can take charge of your passwords. It can take control of your banking accounts. It's horrible. And apparently, like, what it also does is it has the ability to prevent you from installing software that would get rid of it. So that's just like one of the most interesting viruses that came up until this date, because a lot of people are falling for it. So people say, oh, you're a boomer or whatever. No, I didn't get the virus, but the phone company warned people about the virus, and my bank account also warned people about the virus. I don't really make fun of the people falling for the virus, because it's not just the person that's getting scammed. It's also how smart the scammer is. And in my opinion, like, this was actually a very intelligent way of attempting to get people to click a link. Donating to you works really well as a meme, though. Much more fun than Pokimane. P.S. Anyone listening, get independent meat sources. You can't really get independent meat sources in the European Union. I mean, the European Union has a lot of control when it comes to the meat products. I mean, here's the case of a neighbor of mine. So my neighbor made a huge loan from the bank in order to open a slaughterhouse. And I think it took like €1 million or something. And he bought the pigs, he bought the place, and he followed all the regulations. And the regulation was that the slaughterhouse is supposed to be 5 kilometers away from any nearby private home. So this is to make sure that, like, if you have like the pig flu or something, it doesn't spread to local communities. Like, it doesn't seep into the water or whatever. I don't know, but like it was for health reasons, right? Like 5 kilometers away from the nearest community. So he does all this, and right before managing to open the slaughterhouse, a new EU regulation comes up, and it's like, no, it needs to be 50 kilometers away from the nearest community. And he already built everything. So now he had to dismantle it, send the money back, and take the loss. And the EU community does these types of regulations specifically to target and to affect Eastern European nations from being unable to produce meat or to produce products. Because they want Eastern Europe to be the consumer. They don't want them to produce and to give competition to Western Europe. So that's the main issue. And this is just one example, because there's a lot of regulations that are coming from the EU. But long story short, if I were to buy a pig and I would raise it in my own household and I would slaughter the pig just for me and my family, like without actually selling anything, I would break the law. Like it would be illegal for me to raise my own chickens and slaughter my own chickens, right? You'd need licenses, you'd need approvals. Now the good thing is that no one, from what I know, in Romania is actually enforcing the law. Like if you have chickens in your backyard and you're eating them, no one cares. But I think they only care if you're trying to sell them. So if I were to have chickens and then slaughter them and then try to sell them at the market, that would be a problem. But like the thing is, like, legally the law doesn't allow you to do that. Like you need to hire a veterinarian. You would need to get like some approvals. Like you get the city council to look at your backyard and to examine if it's healthy for the chickens to grow there. I mean, it's so ridiculous that you would need to invest a lot of money just to have like 2 chickens that you want to eat or to consume their eggs or whatever, right? So that's why you can't get my bad, independent meat in the European Union. All my rent from Viv, who doesn't even know that I exist. I know that Thomas van de Hoof exists. Like you donate to me quite often, Thomas. People say that's insane. No, you can't even eat their eggs because like you need a license to prove that you have the adequate space for the chicken to move around, and you have like the adequate land and resources to feed the chickens properly, so that you don't do animal cruelty to the chickens or whatever. So yeah, you need licenses. Downloaded the alien picture from 4chan shortly after the FBI hacked into my PC and tried to fry my hard drive. Was able to format before it happened. What are you talking about? What is the alien picture from 4chan? Is this like having to do with the aliens thing that the media is pushing quite hard now? Here in the States, sometimes the government will overpay a farmer to destroy their fruit crops rather than sell them. It creates artificial shortage. Yeah, I heard about these things. I think they happened in Europe as well. But they don't really happen in my country because there's very little agriculture happening in my country. I mean, we can grow our own tomatoes, but we have to import tomatoes from China or Turkey simply because like the people here just can't do with the regulations. What do you think about the Fauci email dump? Yeah, so if this was a court of law, right? Like if we operate on the idea of innocent until proven guilty, and we operate on the idea that beyond of a shadow of a doubt proof, from what I understand, unless something else has happened, like Fauci said that he doesn't know about gain of function research from Wuhan, right? And then the person in charge of Wuhan sends him a thank you, thank you for saying that. You can, like, if you're really charitable and incredibly like you're really just trying to be like beyond the shadow of a doubt, you can say, well, imagine if someone accused you. No, sorry. I would say, like, all right, imagine if people would say V is a white supremacist, right? And you're the person that comes up and say, no, like, there is no evidence that V is a white supremacist. And then I send you an email saying, thank you for clearing my name. Like, thank you for saying that I'm not a white supremacist. Then you could just interpret that as, like, I'm not necessarily in cahoots with you. I'm not paying you to say that, but like I'm thanking you for clearing my name. But I don't like honestly, my personal opinion, like given all the censorship surrounding this topic and given just how many people have been silenced from talking against it. Yeah, no, sorry. Like every time there's censorship, I just assume personally, like I'm not telling you to believe this, but me personally, whenever I see censorship, I err on the side that's against the censor. Every single time. Like, if there is truth, you don't have to censor it. Okay, 2 + 2 = 4. If someone says it's 5, they don't get censored. Because there's truth there. So whenever I see censorship, I just err on the other side. I don't care why it is. Like, if people start censoring that aliens exist, then I'm going to start believing that, you know what, like, maybe there are a couple of intelligent creatures out there. But anyway, I didn't want to talk about this. Like, this is not a topic that I wanted to cover today because I didn't prepare for it. What I did want to talk about today is the following. Amazon customers have 1 week to opt out of a plan that would turn every Echo speaker and Ring security camera in the United States into a shared wireless network as part of the company plan to fix connection problems for its smart home devices. So, in other words, instead of Amazon, which is one of the richest companies in the world right now, and benefited a lot from the pandemic, instead of them starting their own Wi-Fi, global Wi-Fi network, like, SpaceX is doing, like they're launching a satellite that would allow internet for everyone. Instead of doing that, they're basically going to use your stuff. Because remember, you own nothing and you will be happy. So at the end of the day, you don't really own your Echo speaker Ring and your security camera. Amazon can still use it for their purposes. Now, I don't know if this is going to slow down your system. I'm not really sure. I mean, obviously it's going to use some resources for it, right? Like nothing is free. If I use my phone and I turn on a hotspot, it's going to use my phone battery. So, but you get 1 week to opt out. And I'm curious, like afterwards, if you buy a new product, I think you're going to be opting in for default. So the proposal is called Amazon Sidewalk, and it involves the company's devices being used as a springboard to build a citywide mesh networks that helps simplify the process of setting up new devices, keeping them online even if they're out of range. But Sidewalk has come under fire for the apparent lack of transparency with which Amazon has rolled out the feature, as well as the limited time available for users to complete and to tick the box. So I'm probably going to talk about this tomorrow. I find it... I don't like the idea of corporations just looking at the consumer as a cash cow and deciding how they can milk every single cent from them. I mean, this idea is like my private company can do whatever it wants. Like, what about my private citizens should be able to say whatever they want? What about the citizens just rising up against this bullshit? I just don't get it. Like, if you want to use my phone in order for me to give you Wi-Fi access or some shit, pay me. What's wrong with paying me? When did this stop becoming a thing? Hey, you want to use my phone? Perfect. I'll let you use my phone. Pay me. Just give me money and you can use it. Why is it that my private data is being taken away and I'm not getting anything in return? All these corporations, they can take away your private data and sell it to third-party sources and you're not getting a single cent out of it. Let's see. If aliens are confirmed and observed, remember Project Bluebeam is a thing. I don't believe you or them. People in the chat are not addressing this issue. It's not important. Maybe I should make a new video tomorrow. People don't care about it. Have you read that one article that basically argues that we cannot ban exposing children to pornography because it will infringe on their human rights? It wasn't an article. It was a Twitter message that I saw with UNICEF saying that, but I couldn't find the source. Like, it was just a screenshot. So unless I can find the source, I'm really skeptical about it. If the consumer acts like a cash cow, don't get surprised when he's treated like one. Yeah, that's really true in the video gaming industry. I mean, I remember when developers would release DLC after DLC, and if you complained about it, like, people would just say, hey, don't buy it. Okay, but that's not the point. It had the government to step in and say, hey, you know what? Like, maybe loot boxes are a thing too far. Because when it comes to addiction, like, some people are more easy to get addicted than others. So you have a lot of individuals that they buy loot boxes and they can't stop. Like, they keep buying and buying and buying. And it's usually like just 1 or 2% of the players that do that. Like, there was a study which showed that it was less than 5% of players that buy loot boxes. But the revenue from those 5% of the players was sometimes even greater than the revenue from selling the game. It was insane. So yeah, I can see why that is harmful. But not only that, like, you now have developers spending more time on loot boxes and on silly costumes rather than patching the game and giving you a better product. So even if you're not buying the loot box, you're still losing out as a consumer. And then you also need to think about the fact that you get broken games, like day one broken game, and people say it's normal. They're like, no, it's perfectly okay if you get like a bad game on day one. It's just like wait for the patch. It used to be that people would play the game, and during the beta they would say, hey, like this is bug, like you can't release the game like this. This is bad. And everyone, oh, well, it's a beta. What do you expect? Like it's supposed to be broken. And then like you get the game on day one. And it's like, well, it's the day one. It's supposed to be broken. You should wait for the patch. And I just don't think like something like this exists in any other industry. I don't think like you can buy a fridge and the refrigerator isn't working properly, so your food gets spoiled. And it's like, well, what do you expect? You just bought the fridge. You need to wait for the guy from the company to fix it for you, like to give you the update, the patch. Didn't one guy spend his entire lottery win on loot on World of Warcraft? I think like there was a guy that actually sold the Diablo sword for like millions of dollars. Like that was the most excessive one. Amazon Echo devices ran on Android operating system. I bet for tech people, you can install a custom Android ROM like Graphene operating system to get out of this Wi-Fi bullshit. There's a lot of things that people use in order to maintain their privacy. I mean, there's an entire YouTube channel called Degooglifying Your Phone. So the idea is like these operating systems, like the Android and the iPhone, like they're using their best in order to keep collecting information from you, and you consent to this when you buy your phone, so it's not secret or anything. Like they actively tell you they're doing this. And there are certain devices and certain phones that you can buy and techniques that you can use in order to protect your information from these companies. But like again, like how many people are going to do that? It's probably less than 1%. So it's not really affecting these companies at all. The problem is that the majority of consumers are accepting it. The problem is that none of the advocates for consumers, which should be the gaming press, aren't talking about it. The problem is that if you talk about it, the Reddit mods will suppress it. The problem is that if you talk about it, Twitter is going to make sure you're not trending. Like, we're talking about multi-billion-dollar corporations that spend millions of dollars on marketing. The idea that they're not paying video game journalists to not talk about it, or that they're not paying Reddit moderators or whatnot in order to suppress the information is ridiculous. I mean, these are the people that actually pay Twitch streamers in order to play their video games. If you look at the Razer, it's more likely that they are paying the talking heads of the community in order to not talk about it and look the other way. Which browser I'm using? Oh, I'm a boomer. I use the default one. I use Chrome. I know I shouldn't, but I want the people from 10 years back, they cared about getting spied on. Yeah, it's very funny. Like, if you look 10 years ago, there was a lot of TV shows and computer games and books, which talked about the dystopia where everyone is getting spied on. I mean, the idea of Big Brother was sending chills into people. Like, what do you mean I have like a web camera I have a video camera in my house? But now people are willingly buying those web cameras. Like, they're willingly buying the Alexa. They're willingly putting out their information out there. They're willingly taking pictures of their children and putting it on Facebook. So it's kind of fascinating. Like, all of this technology where you have like more and more abilities to spy on people is not only being done with the consent of the people, but people demand that companies spy on them. People demand that companies collect information from them. I mean, I remember like a couple of years ago when Blizzard wanted to integrate Facebook into Blizzard, into Battle.net. Like, people freaked out. It's like, what do you mean? Like, people are going to see my real name on the forum. Like, I need anonymity on the internet. But now, people love the fact that you can connect with your Facebook on Battle.net because you don't have to type. Like, people are so lazy. You don't have to type the user and the password. You just click connect with Facebook and boom, you're there. And then you can show like the achievements that you had in your games to your Facebook friends. Like, people want this. They want their information to be as connected and as exposed as humanly possible. Webcams allow you to demonstrate and virtue signal your authoritarian government support. I don't know. Your vision is augmented. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. Like if the technology will ever be there, so it can have chip in our brains. So you'll have like a company making the chips, and maybe like eventually the chips are going to be free, but you get commercials plugged into your brain or whatever. I'm curious, like if people will still be okay with that. Like if they will still be okay with installing something that works one way when you install it, but further down the line, like the company can always patch something new into it. That would be like really interesting. I don't even know like if the cyborg future is ever going to exist, but if it does, I mean, it's going to be really scary. I personally loved it when I was a kid, like the idea of like having a chip in your brain. I loved it, but now I'm really worried. And I'm not worried that the technology wouldn't exist. I'm just worried that the corporations would have malice behind it. V, you look younger. That's a sign of weight gain. It smooths wrinkles. You getting any exercise? No, I'm not getting any exercise. I'm waking up in the morning. I need to get my driving lesson. Then I come home. I need to get the video on my main channel done. Then I need to get the video on my secondary channel done. Then I need to clean the house and feed the cat and spend some time with my missus. And then I do the live stream. And then I have a little bit of time for maybe playing 1 or 2 video games. And then I get to bed and I restart the process. You don't think cyborgs will ever be a thing? Okay, so I can tell you this as a doctor. The human body is very good at recognizing something that's not belonging to itself. So the immune system will immediately react, which means that if you like have a prosthetic thing, like even if you have a heart transplant, right? Like over time, over 10 years, it's going to create autoimmune problems. So if we ever find like some material that the body will not attack, like if it's completely autoimmune inert, and then you figure out how the human nervous system works, and you get it down to a science, and you probably make like machines able to collect or to connect all the nerve endings to like whatever you're having, I think you can actually do it. Like I genuinely think you could have the cyborg technology, and it's probably going to start with smaller things like maybe a hand, maybe an arm, before it goes to more advanced things like an eye, an ear, or well, you wouldn't need the ear. You just need like the eardrum, the auditive nerve to be connected to something. But yeah, it would be something really interesting. Like imagine you detonate an EMP attack, and all the cyborgs just go offline. I had that essay about marketing technologies. I suggested eye tracking ads, which pause when you are not looking at them. That way you have to pay attention to the whole video. Oh my god, Tactical Droid, like that would be so cancerous. Like, can you imagine? Like you have an ad on your phone, and you have to constantly look at it, because if you look away, the ad stops playing. Oh my god, that's just... No, I think people wouldn't put up with it. I think people would install ad block if that was the case. Like you always had the option to just switching the channel. Like you always had that option. I remember like when I was watching TV, you'd have 10 to 15 minutes of ads. In some places, like I remember on certain channels, especially Italian ones when I grew up, like they would have commercial for 20 minutes or 30 minutes. It was insane. So what people started doing is that when you had commercials on a channel, you'd skip to another channel. But then what the channels began doing, because they noticed that, like whenever they had commercials, like people just switched the channel. And what they did is like every single channel would show commercials at the same time. Like they would release commercials exactly at the same time. So you would switch the channel and it was commercials everywhere. And then the government stepped in and they made it so that you aren't allowed to have commercial more than 15 minutes or something. Unless you had like a very small break with 1 or 2 commercials. And I guess like those people paid extra premium or whatever. I think people wouldn't put with it. Will hold you to that. No, like people wouldn't put with it because they would just install ad blocking at that point. Like it would be so invasive that people would just know. You got a good grade on that, but your classmates were very disturbed. Well, yeah, no tactical droid. That's really fucked up. I mean, every single phone now has a camera, so you can't even make the excuse. But it would be interesting to see like what happens if your camera breaks, right? Like the user would not be able to watch anything that requires commercials now. I'm going to steal your idea, tactical droid. It's so dystopian, right? Like use eye tracking software to make sure. What if the person has sunglasses though? People wouldn't put up with the cancellation of Christmas, but they did. Well, no, I disagree because Christmas isn't really canceled. Like what it is, like the virtue signaling of Christmas is canceled. But like no one is stopping you from celebrating Christmas in your own house. No one is stopping you from doing whatever you want on Christmas. Not to mention, like the American version of Christmas is quite a joke. How much of Christmas is dedicated to Jesus and prayers, and how much of Christmas is dedicated to commercialism? It's kind of funny because there used to be in the United Kingdom a very, very progressive government. Well, for its time, very puritanical, I mean. Same thing, really. But they were insanely puritanical, and they were tyrannical as well. And they actually forbade people from celebrating Christmas. I'm sorry, it's not that they forbade them from celebrating it. They forbade any Christmas gathering. So Christmas was a time that you were supposed to stay in house and pray to the Lord. You weren't supposed to eat a lot because that's a sin. Like gluttony is a sin. So we weren't supposed to eat a lot. You weren't supposed to give presents. Like you were supposed to just stay in your house and pray to the Lord. People created a computer virus that works on human DNA. Look it up. Proof we're living in a simulation. I'm going to look it up. I wouldn't be surprised though. Christmas has nothing to do with Jesus. Yes and no. I mean, just because a celebration was taken from a previous religion, that doesn't mean that it's not Christian. Right? But the problem is that it's supposed to be about Jesus, even though it wasn't on Jesus's birthday. Like, if you were to take that what Christmas is on face value, then you're not supposed to give presents or give gifts or anything like that. I mean, the whole idea of giving gifts on the specific day would be anti-Christian. Like you're giving gifts because you feel charity. Like you have the choice. It's a virtue when you want to do the gift. But if you're constrained to give the gift because it's the holiday, right? It's that time of year where you're supposed to give a gift, then it's not really a Christian-like. It's like the Jews that were selling things in the temple. New vid on my Odyssey channel to use VIMB web browser. I don't want to change my web browser. I'm just way too much of a boomer when it comes to technology. Coca-Cola started modern American Christmas. Yeah, I pretty much think that that's the case. There's a lot of consumerism, and honestly, it's why the current establishment doesn't try to stop Christmas from happening. Like they're trying to stop other celebrations from happening, like Columbus Day, but they're never going to stop Christmas from happening. What they want to do is they want to de-Christianize Christmas. So they wanted that you're not saying Merry Christmas anymore. You're supposed to say Happy Holidays to make Christmas more inclusive. So even if it's a Christian holiday, it should be inclusive for Jewish people, for atheists, and for Muslims. And the reason they want it to be more inclusive is so that even the Muslim goes out shopping, right? Even if he doesn't believe in Christmas, he still goes to the office Christmas party. He still goes out shopping and then partakes into consumerism. And it's the same with the Jewish person and the atheist. So that's why is the war on Christmas. What it really is to take the commercialism from Christmas and spread it to the entire community, so that the companies make more money. I mean, if you look at Valentine's Day, like what happens with the flower industry and the gift card industry, like they explode in sales because of that. So It's more financial related rather than just ideological. Prince Albert established many of the Christmas traditions in the United Kingdom. By the way, I'm an atheist, and I have nothing against Christmas. I think it's a wonderful thing. I think like spending some time with the family is good. I definitely love the Christmas spirit, even if it's fake. But it's very difficult to get the family together unless it's a holiday. And if you're not 35 years old or something, you're not going to get it, right? Because what ends up happening is like when you have a big family, everyone is busy with work. Everyone has other priorities. So unless someone dies, unless it's Thanksgiving or Christmas, it's very difficult to get the family together. But on Christmas, everyone has the Christmas break. Most companies they give a couple of days off, so you can finally meet with the family and you can finally spend some time together. And I think that's definitely amazing. It's very wholesome. So even if I'm not a Christian, I still appreciate Christianity. My opinion on Black Friday. So my personal opinion on Black Friday is that first of all, like there's a lot of scamming involved. I used to go to this store in order to buy furniture, and I see like this massive bed. It was very beautiful. It was classical. Let me show you the bed. All right, hold on. I'll show you something about Black Friday in a bit. So I see this bed, right? Um, and it was like really, really amazing looking. I mean, it was really large. I love the sculpture around it, and I needed a bed, right? Because I just moved, and the price was something like $500 or something like that. At the time. How can it be like $500? I mean, this is like at least a $1,000 bed. I'm thinking like, holy shit, right? Black Friday. Um, but I didn't have the money at me, so I waited for a couple of days. Then I managed to loan some money, and I go to the store, and I'm like I really want the bed, right? But then they told me, oh, you can't just buy the bed. No, you need to buy the bed, and then you need to buy the rug, and you need to buy the mattress, and you need to buy all these other furnitures because it's a set. And then they calculated that it was something like $5,000 or some shit. So it's like, oh, I see what you did there. I see you. I see you. So that's like one of the ways they try to con you at Black Friday. It's one of the ways that is not very used, but the way they do it is like they will say, oh, this is very cheap, come to our store, buy it. And when you go there, oh, we're so sorry, we just ran out. Oh, we're so sorry, that one just sold, but here's another product we can offer you. And the idea is that if you already made the trip there, then they can scam you. Now the other way they scam you is that, let's say something costs $1,000, right? 2 or 3 days before Black Friday, they will make it $2,000, and then they will be like, "Oh, Black Friday special, 50% off," and it's back to $1,000. And I seen this happening again and again with various products, like especially if you go into a store and you frequent, like especially when you go furniture shopping, right? Like most people don't go furniture shopping unless they like renovate an apartment. So you're going furniture shopping, and you usually look at the whole store, and you're only shopping for a sofa, right? So you buy the sofa, and the next month you go to buy a chair, and you're looking at the whole store again. And after you do this for a couple of months, you start to kind of know the prices of things. You start to kind of like know the price tag of something even before you look at it. And you notice that before Black Friday, all the prices go up, and then after Black Friday, all of a sudden they go down. So, like that's the main issue that I have with Black Friday. Steam used to do it as well. Like a lot of people pointed it out, and you eventually like have websites which track how many companies are honest and how many companies are dishonest. But what I think about Black Friday itself, if it's actually legit, like if a company legitimately gives discounts for people and whatnot, if you're a sane person like myself, okay, like an individual that advocates for self-control and moderation, and you know it's Black Friday, and you go and you say, all right, this is what I need. I need a new pan, okay? I need a new TV. And you go only to buy the new TV, then Black Friday is very good for you. If you're a moron, if you're a person easily swayed by commercialism, you're going to say, all right, I need a pan. And you're going to go to the supermarket and you're going to see a lot of people that are just bunching up in order to buy a new laptop because it's 60% off. And now you're buying a laptop. And then you're going and you're saying, oh, 70% off on a TV. And you're buying the TV. Right? So instead of just buying a pan, you go home and you spend your entire wage on shit just because it was 70% off or something. So that's the problem, right? Like you need to realize what Black Friday is. Like it tries to convince you to go to the store in order to buy as much as possible, and you end up losing. So what you need to do is to just go before being at the store and say like, okay, this is what I need. And the best thing to do is to go to an ATM, take cash out of your credit card, leave your credit card at home, and go to the store only with the money to buy the thing that you need. And please stop creeping out Tactical Droid. Only he gets to creep you out by talking about commercials that stop playing if you don't look at them. You can resist everything except temptation, huh? Yeah, it's something that a lot of people complain. It's like, oh, Black Friday is evil, blah, blah, blah. I know it's not evil, you're just dumb. Let's see what else we got. We're not going to be talking about this, not going to be talking about this. The beginning of human resources, that's very interesting. There's a lot of news that I'm avoiding just because I want to talk about it in a different show, a different segment, like maybe make an entire video on my channel. Oh yeah, this one is really interesting, right? So a lot of people are getting upset about it. Like I personally am not. I just don't care. But you get like this rock band, which is punk rock, renowned for being conformist, trying to persuade people to get vaccinated. And I'm like, okay, fine. Like if you're a private person that wants to convince others to do something, there's nothing wrong with that. But is it really going to convince people? That's my question. Like, is your purpose going to be fulfilled by saying, all right, you can pay $18 if you come to the concert if you're vaccinated, and you can pay $1,000 if you're not vaccinated? Like, you literally must think that there is a person out there who, for whatever reason, did not get vaccinated, but now they're going to think, all right, well, if this punk band is coming to my town, I have to get vaccinated now. Like, I need to. I can't afford the $1,000. Like, are there people like that? That's the question. Like, do these people exist? Like, who is your target audience with this is what I'm trying to say. What demographic are you trying to accommodate? And then you also need to question, it's like, okay, the guy said this is for the safety of everyone involved. Perfect. Okay, it's for the safety of everyone involved. So what if a person that's actually sick pays $1,000 to get in? Is he not going to infect all those vaccinated people if he is sick? I mean, you're just saying, like, if you're keeping people safe, but if someone pays you enough, you're fine with letting those people be in danger. Seen the news about Biden's corporate tax plan? No, I haven't. Um, Buy the T-shirt, get the tattoo. Very rock and roll. Yeah. Honestly, is it just me, or like I noticed two things happening? So the first thing, every time like something gets popular, it stops being fun. Like when I was in high school and I listened to rock music, oh my god, like it was so fun. It was like only 2 or 3 kids that listened to it, and everyone got bullied. But then rock and roll becomes popular, everyone listens to it, and it becomes very commercial. It becomes very, like cringy, and most of the songs they stop being. I stopped liking it. Okay, but then you notice something else. There aren't that many subcultures now. Did you notice that? Like when I grew up, there were a lot of subcultures that were edgy. I mean, you had goth. I used to hang around with some kids in the graveyard. Believe it or not, like the graveyard was actually very fun. It was almost like a park where no one would go there. But it was like really nice that there were a lot of trees. It was very clean air in a big city. You didn't have people bothering you, so you could just sit on a bench and listen to some music. It was just, I loved it, right? But you had the goth culture. That's what I'm trying to say. You had like the edgy people. You had like various geeks listening to random crap. But now everything is you don't have these subcultures anymore. Like you really don't. Maybe there are, and I just don't know them. Like what is an edgy subculture that exists? And you can. I mean, even the anime subculture is now popular. It's almost like the whole point of rock and roll was to sell out. Leave the dead people alone. Dude, there are benches in the graveyard. There are places where you can just stay like you're in a park. And at least the one in my town was very beautiful. I think I made a couple of pictures with it. Like people really loved it. Uh, it looks exactly like a park, and but it's not just like a park. It's almost like a medieval park. Like it's very vintage. You get like all these statues with angels, and you get like very very beautiful sculptures, and it's. I mean, I don't know. It's creepy because it's a graveyard. I get it, but if you actually go there, you will see that it's not that creepy. And again, I was like a teenager when I did that. I'm trying to find a picture of it, and I don't know why I can't. There we go. Yeah, it looks like this. I mean, it's just like the alley where you go all the way up to the chapel, and there's a couple of benches. And if you go to the left or the right, but we never did that, you can find like the sites and whatnot. And this is the chapel. But as I mentioned, it's I guess we were going there because it was like edgy, and it's like, oh, you shouldn't go there, creepy. But it was like a park. It was very very peaceful. Not a lot of people went there, so no one to bother you. 80s lover, our subculture. 4chan type message boards are an edgy subculture. 4chan is today what Reddit used to be. I'm not even kidding. Like, if you go on 4chan today, it's what Reddit used to be in 2015. I remember the popular brands were Korn and Slipknot, and System of a Down and Disturbed was okay. Yeah, I do agree. Subculture die because there isn't gatekeeping, because leftists infiltrate them and oppose the gatekeeping. Leftists oppose the gatekeeping. Leftists oppose you gatekeeping them. But other than that, like leftists are the biggest gatekeepers in the world. I'm very sad that you deleted the stream where you talked about modern art. Unfortunately, I deleted all the streams from the last month by accident. It's very easy to do so. It's like a little box where you're supposed to delete the current stream, and another box on top of it where you delete all the streams. So yeah. You have to go to 8con to find the subculture stuff. Maybe. But 8chan is almost the same. It's like, again, like the image boards today are the same like the Reddit of the past. Chan is so bad at times, but it's also one of the only places where you can truly say whatever you want with no consequences. They still have TOS. You still can get banned for violating the TOS on many forums. And what's the point in trying to say something and have an intelligent conversation if you're like surrounded by trolls and people that are going to mock whatever you said? The most subculture thing I can think of is the kill stream, but it's becoming more mainstream. Is it still a thing? Like, I actually wonder, like, where are all the far righters on YouTube? Is there still, like, and how is kill stream becoming mainstream? Like, if anything is probably having less subs. Like, mainstream is, I wouldn't even say Vosh is becoming mainstream. Mainstream would be, you know, like you go on the street and you ask someone and they know who you're talking about. Like PewDiePie is mainstream, right? Like you go on the street and you ask someone about PewDiePie, chances are they know who you're talking about. My God, V, you are boomerang so hard to stream. What do you mean, Christy? Like, is there a problem with the stream quality? I hope the stream quality isn't bad. Kubate Bloodsport. Boomering, like what am I boomering about? What exactly is like reminiscing of the past, I guess? Anyway, right, I mostly wanted to check the new setup to see how it's like. How can leftists be gatekeepers if they don't like walls or borders? Oh, well, the problem is that you think that what they say is true. I mean, if you look at them setting up chess, literally the first thing they did was to set up a border. It's on Odyssey live stream, also DLive and Trovo. I didn't know that. How many people watch it? It used to have around 2,000 on YouTube. It has black nationalists arguing with rabbis. That's kind of hilarious. Should check it out. Does YouTube still have a big prank calling community? No, it doesn't. Doing pranks now, it's harmful content. So you can't monetize if you do the pranks. And pranking is actually very difficult to make because usually it's done with actors, but you have to create the illusion that the pranks are real. And YouTube would consider that to be harmful. Like if you have a prank where a guy randomly kisses girls on the street, even if the girl consents and she's an actress, if you don't specify that that is the case, you can get a community guideline strike for harmful content. So that's why you don't see pranks on YouTube. Like pretty much everything that used to be funny isn't on YouTube anymore. Even the search engine is completely destroyed on YouTube. Like you can search for video titles that you remember and you're not going to find them. They're buried in the algorithm. Oh yeah, telephone pranks. I guess like you can do it, but like that's not as fun. Like I remember, one of the most harmful pranks that was there. It used to be like a guy, and it was clearly faked, right? Like it was clearly made up. Like any person with a brain realizes, but it was a guy who dressed in a traditional Arabian attire, and he would throw a bag and say bomb, and he would run away, and everyone was freaking out that they were running away, right? And they considered that to be harmful. And I was thinking, like, why is there so much Islamophobia? Why do you assume that there's a bomb there just because the guy is dressed like a Muslim? Why are you such bigoted? Like, if you're running away, clearly you're bigoted. Clearly you think that the guy is evil just because of the way he dresses. Like, to me, that prank exposed more about the progressives than it exposed anything about the bigotry of the guy making the prank. Yeah, everyone saw that. I mean, it trended. It had like millions of views. It was very popular. The only people upset were the journalists. And again, the reason they were upset is because it was exposing the fact that people are the bigots. Like, if you're a person that does a stereotype, you wouldn't run away. I love the fact, it's like people were saying, it's like, why did they have to dress up as a Muslim? It's like, well, good question. They should make a prank where they don't dress up to see if the people do run away or not. I had a Muslim friend and he showed me those pranks. The funny thing is, like, a Muslim friend showed them to me as well, because I was at the University of Medicine at the time and we had a lot of Muslim colleagues. Better bigoted than littled. They removed the pages from the search so that you could only search effectively, and you only get 3 search results between 9 shield video of unrelated to the search. Yeah, I mean, even if you search for like things that aren't political, like you can search for music, you can search for some obscure artist or something like that, you're going to be bombarded with priority creators. Like you're going to get like the videos you want, and 9 of those videos then are going to be like things from mainstream media that have nothing to do with what you were searching. Oh my god, Neotsu, just... Someone wish harm upon Neotsu, because I can't do it because I would violate the terms of service, but the joke he said is so bad. I think like the way our channels work, like the way my YouTube channel works and many other independent creators, is just word of mouth at this point. Like I don't think people who aren't subscribed to me even know of my existence. It's just that you guys can say, hey, by the way, like, check this guy out, and you show them a video of mine and they like it. That's literally how I think it works. I don't think YouTube just recommends my stuff anymore. And it's not just me, it's like anyone that's not a priority creator. And they also desensitize people doing live streaming. Like if I get Devo here and Devo drops the N-word, then I get my channel shut down, right? For something that Devo said. So if it's something that's recorded, I can have control over it. But if it's something that's live, and I have like, like Sargon coming in and starting to talk about the holy election or something, which is against YouTube's community guidelines, he's fine. I'm the one that gets the strike. And there's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing I can say or do in order to prevent, me from getting a strike just because I have a guest. And because of that, a lot of people in the YouTube community, they don't want to stream anymore. Because it's like, well, it's my livelihood. I built this channel for 5 years. I don't want to throw it away just because I get an edgy person. Because I would love to have, someone on my Discord and like create a Discord channel and then like get random people here and talk with them. Have like guests coming on. I would love to do that, but I can't because someone can just drop an N-bomb, the big one, like Vosh likes to say, the big one, and I'm not like Vosh. I don't have the power to drop the big one. If I stream with Vosh on his channel, he can literally drop the big one on me and call me the big one, and I'll just have to respond with the N-word because that's the reality of the world we live in. Thank you, Sammy Scott. I appreciate it. It's also about jokes, like YouTube and progressives in general. They can't differentiate between a joke and something that a person means it. Basically, what they do is like if a progressive says it, then it's a joke. If a non-progressive says it, then it's harmful. I could use a delay in my stream. I mean, yeah, I guess I could use a delay in my stream, but again, like, it's not just about the N-word. Like, what if the person makes a joke that's borderline? Like, someone makes a South Park joke. Now, if I leave it on, then I can get a strike. If I delete it, then the community will be upset. Hey, V, why are you so censorious? Why are you deleting this joke? Like, clearly it's fine. It's like that thing if you go to a progressive and you say, people shouldn't flirt at the office. Like, they freak out. It's like, what do you mean people shouldn't flirt at the office? Like, flirting at the office is fine. But then when you actually give a story, it's like, well, this guy, was looking at his colleague's tits and then went to help her and placed his hand on her hand. Right? Oh my God, that's sexual harassment at the office. Right? So like, it really depends. I probably did get your Twitter DM. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. It's almost 3 a.m., so I have to go to bed soon. Hopefully this setup is a lot better than what I used to have. And I'm going to see you guys